What was the ideal form of government for the 20th century? Was the ideal form of government a multi-party state or a single-party state? Firstly, to explain this, we can look at Britain and America, the United States, as multi-party states, and compare them to Weimar Germany and Nazi Germany. During the 20th century, America became a world superpower. America was supplying resources to countries all over the world and was a vital trading partner, especially during the World Wars. Many events put pressure on and tested the strength and ability of a leader and their government. Presidents ruled with their governments throughout the 20th century. Due to disagreements with the world, each president had to deal with immense pressure to do the right thing for the people, and most succeeded in doing so. As a multi-party state, America has managed to survive through conflicts and still engage in them. Britain, in the 20th century, suffered 2 world wars, thus economical damage and a loss of an empire. This badly damaged the morale of the people and put immense pressure on the government and its leaders.
We must all join as a united nation and bear equitable sacrifices to see the present crisis through.
Britain's leaders throughout the 20th century were always a Prime Minister of the elected party. Some of the troubles they had to deal with were Prime Minister Lloyd George, the consequences after World War I, and Prime Minister Winston Churchill, the consequences of World War II, and some months after. Due to Britain's alliance with France, which blossomed, was a good example of an alliance system. The two countries stayed together through thick and thin, despite the occasional judgmental error. This might have worked so well as both countries were on the same wavelength, as they were both multi-party states. In comparison, the Weimar Republic, although it can be considered a success, for the sake of this argument it will be looked at as a failure. Firstly, the Weimar Republic was considered a symbol for change, but in terms of government, not much changed. Kaiser Wilhelm II, who had led Germany into the war, had fled the country and was no longer the leader of Germany. However, it was still possible for the new leader, Ibert, to rule by Article 48 in emergencies. This ultimately destroyed the idea of a multi-party state and democracy. Secondly, Germany depended on superpowers, like America, to keep the country going financially. Thus, the Weimar Republic didn't actually make any decisions for themselves. This became clear due to the use of the Young and Dawes Plan, created by Young and Dawes. Germany was one of the countries to be hit extremely badly by the Wall Street crash, as all the American loans were called back in. Thirdly, the voting system of the Weimar Republic was called proportional representation. It produced weak coalition governments and led to parties not being able to provide Germany with a strong central government. Nazi Germany is an example of a successful single-party state. But why? The Nazis seemed to know exactly what the people wanted, and if they didn't, they were able to convince people to think as they did. They managed to secure the faith and support of the people. However, this is purely the success of the Nazis, which they included into the idea of a single-party state. Hitler was able to challenge the Allies on many things, such as the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. One of his greatest achievements that won even more faith and support from the people was when he regained the territory that the Treaty of Versailles had taken from Germany. This was one technique that led to the Allies being scared of dictatorships and dictators. Hitler formed alliances with other dictators such as Mussolini and Stalin. So what was the ideal form of government for the 20th century? Was it a multi-party state or a single-party state? A single-party state creates too much tension, and democracy has lasted. Therefore, the ideal form of government for the 20th century is a multi-party state.